Hi, this is Robert Nuddleman, and we're talking about wage and hour laws. I handle a lot of wage and hour laws with the Nuddleman Law Firm and have throughout my career. In fact, my first case was while I was still a law student. I had my first trial, was a wage and hour violation on behalf of a restaurant worker that was misclassified and was not paid all the wages he was owed. And for whatever reason, I really kind of fell in love with wage and hour cases, and I've handled you know, scores of labor commissioner hearings, cases that go to trial, cases that get resolved before trial. I advise employers as well as represent employees, and a wide variety of wage and hour cases. And some of my colleagues have asked, well, why do you like wage and hour so much? I think one of the primary reasons is, a lot of people have problems getting paid, and particularly when you're living paycheck to paycheck, which a lot of people are, missing a paycheck or not getting paid correctly can have some pretty devastating effects. You can't pay your rent, you can't pay your mortgage, you can't pay your food, you can't pay your child support, you can't pay your bills. And so helping people to get them to get paid is very important to me. And from the same respects, on behalf of employers, making sure that they're doing things correctly avoids problems. Wage and hour litigation on behalf of an employer can be very costly, can be very expensive. Even for a seemingly small mistake, it could cost a significant amount of money. So if we can avoid those problems and make sure that employees get paid what they're supposed to get paid, then they'll certainly be, everybody will be better off. Because there is such a wide variety of wage and hour laws, the labor code is chock full of them, the labor commissioner opinions, the wage orders, the different regulations, the federal law, it can be very confusing. So it's very easy for an employer to make a mistake. Some of those mistakes are honest mistakes and can be corrected. Some of those mistakes are not so honest mistakes. And depending on the situation, it's going to dictate how difficult it's going to be to fix the problem. One of the things I like about wage and hour law is they're fairly straightforward cases. Unlike a discrimination case or harassment case, and I do a lot of discrimination, harassment, retaliation, but in those cases we're having to prove motive. What was the reason that this employer did what this employer did? With a wage and hour case, the facts tend to be more straightforward, and oftentimes we can agree upon the facts, and maybe there's just a dispute about the law, or the facts are very similar in a lot of respects. We're looking at how many hours did the employee work, what type of work did they do, how much did they get paid. That often means the wage and hour cases can lend themselves to early resolution. Again, that's assuming the parties agree on the facts. There are certainly times, a lot of times, when the employee says one thing and the employer says the other as far as hours worked, meal breaks taken, rest breaks taken, and that can add to the cost of any type of a wage and hour case. The other thing I like about wage and hour cases is that there are multiple venues where an employee can go if they have not been paid correctly. They can go to the labor commissioner. The labor commissioner handles cases of all sizes, and they're set up to be able to assist people who are not represented. Oftentimes I think it makes sense to have an attorney, or at least seek the advice of an attorney to make sure you do things correctly. Right. Another forum, aside from the labor commissioner, if you're owed less than $10,000 or $7,500, depending on who you are and what you're claiming, you can go to small claims court. It's a fast, efficient way to get your cases resolved. Alternatively, you can file a claim in state court, and most times you can file a case in federal court. And depending on the type of case, you may want to be in federal court versus being in state court. And that's one of the things that I can bring to my clients, is I help them identify what is the best forum to be in. Even if I'm the employer, sometimes we have an option to be able to move things. Maybe we have an enforceable arbitration agreement. Maybe the plaintiff has filed in state court, but we have the means to remove that case up to federal court, and we can decide on what's the best form based on the facts and the law in the case. There's also something known as the Private Attorney General Act, which enables an employee to sue an employer for any violation of the law. So that's some of the reasons that I enjoy working on wage and hour cases. Why I do a lot of wage and hour cases. And if you have any questions about wage and hour law, please feel free to give us a call. Thanks.